Good morning, Zydrunas. How are you?
Good morning, Peter. I'm good. Very well. Very well. Sun shining outside. All's good now.
Good man. Well, look, welcome to the NI Business Podcast. Thanks very much for taking the time to have a chat with me today. Could we start? Could you tell me a little about yourself, your background, and your business, please?
Yeah, thank you for having me, first and foremost. Yes, Peter. Yeah. So we ZM Composites, we manufacture fiberglass products. We just opened up I would say recently, just a year ago. And we manufacture GRP products for our building industry, like door canopies, bay windows, dummy chimneys. Also, we started to manufacture enclosures for a waterboard and electrical board.
So, did you say GIP? What does that what does that stand for?
GRP stands for glass reinforced plastics.
Oh, GRP, right? Okay.
Yes.
And what about how did you end up in this situation? What's your background? Tell me a little about your
Well,
journey.
I was doing engineering studies back in Lithuania back in 2001, and took a bit off from as a student holidays. Came in this country and started to work for the crowd. Used to work. I used to make same products, and kind of I took over for over 20 years, 21 years, I think so was to be precise, and decided to move on and try myself. So that's how the whole thing started, whole thing happened, and now we at where we at now, making stuff out to GRP.
And whenever you came to Northern Ireland for the first time as a student, did you ever envisage that you would have your own business here?
Well, they never thought it was only 3 months, the kind of holiday thing, but it kind of worked out. I'm still on holidays, late 21 year later. So yeah, that's no, I never thought about the settle down in Ireland, or like most of us was thinking to just come in, make some money, go back and maybe buy the car, or whatever people thinking about. I was planning to buy the car, but it worked out. I stuck in this country and still here, and more than happy to be here.
Very good. And so help me understand a little about your target market. Who do you work best with? Who benefits the most from working with ZM Composites?
Well, we most of what we're working with, it's actual would be contractors and the builders, developers, and also architects. So the way we work, we try to navigate and pivot through the architects, and try to accommodate their needs. Most of would be, the dummy chimneys. You look into drawings and you're trying to speak with the various architects, what's coming up, and yes, and yes, the style is changes, but still they require the same products. It's a, it's a somehow some sites it goes traditional, some sites wants to go with GLP, some sites goes with the zinc effect. It's various products available, but what you want to do, you want to narrow it down and be on time in the market where it requires your product. So that's what we do at the moment. So we do a lot of research, we communicate a lot with the architects, we work with the developers, and yeah, would be our main target, would be developers, architects, and contractors.
Okay. And what would you say has been your biggest lesson in business?
The biggest lesson was in business, I would say adapt, to adopt and pivot. That's probably two words I would say. What's the biggest lesson I have for a period of time? We own the business, and by the time I work for somebody else, it's always how you have to adopt. Definitely is adoption, definitely.
And what have you learned about yourself along the way?
Well, I was, as I said before, I learn adapt, to the requirements market requires at the time. You have to do that, especially when you own your business. You have to look, maybe you like it or not, but you have to do it, and you have to adopt whatever comes to you. So you have to catch up with this, with a lot of stuff. So especially when you're new into this, when you're just starting. So a lot of learning going on. So yes.
And is there any person or people that have influenced you along the way?
But listen, it's quite a few guys around, you know. So, you know, again, you know, when over the years you go and see, um, you see a lot of people who owns the businesses, you know, but the way they behave, the way they stand, the way they do the things, you know, and yeah, it is the one guy, you know. It's quite a few guys, not one guy, it's quite a few guys around, you know, that I was looking into it, and yeah, and you know, you try and get, you know, suck in as much as you can till you have a chance to be around these people, you know,
Hmm.
and yeah, so yeah, just I don't know, it's just probably no point name mention the names because they are from different industries, probably from different countries as well at the same time. Yeah, but yes, it is the guys you look to it and you want to suck it in just as much information till you have a chance to.
And tell me, what gets you out of bed in the morning and drives your passion for your business?
First and foremost, it's a family, you know. You wanna provide, you wanna be there, you wanna make a kind of sample of yourself to your kids as well. I have a couple of kids, you know. I have a 6-year-old who mad, you know, and they have a 14-year-old girl. So, you know, so you kind of, that's the main thing what it does first and foremost. And then the next thing is, you know, eh, when you own your own business, when you have the business, you know, you it's a lot of guys depend on you. So you like it or not, you know, you started, you have to keep going, you know, and you know what always all problem solves is the big smile, you know. When everybody smiles, that means, you know, that's all good.
Very good. And well, I share your enjoyment of having a teenage daughter. That's probably they're good fun, aren't they?
Oh, they do. Hey, they do a lot of fun. Brings home to the house. Definitely, they
Uh,
do.
and what are you a reader or do you
Well,
listen
listen, you
to
know,
podcasts? Is there anything you'd like to share?
yeah, well, listen, I used to read the quite few books, you know, but nothing would be touching the business. Would be more, you know, um, Viking type of stuff, you know, that type of stuff, bit of a history. But I do relax watching a lot of podcasts in regards to basketball.
Okay.
So, you know, we from Lithuania, we like basketball. We don't play football as good as you guys do. But anyway, you know, so I would watch a lot of, you know, especially when you're driving, you know, going to meetings and stuff. You have to drive to Cork or Limerick or Dundalk or Dublin, whatever you go to, right? So
Uh-huh.
I'll always listen podcast, basketball podcasts.
Very good. And what would you say? What's the biggest challenge that you're currently facing in business?
It's the business himself is a challenge. I think so. You know, and especially when you're just starting like myself. Uh, yeah, well, again, you know, you have to adopt. You know, that's that's trying to figure out. You know, it's all financial things going on, and especially the supply and demand thing again. You know, try and figure out that's the hard thing inside the business. Again, you know, when you have just your wife working with you, that's another challenges. You know, and I would say some biggest one of them all.
Be careful. She might hear you. No, I'm only
Well,
joking.
she's away with the dog, so all's
Oh
good.
yeah, I thought you were particularly brave with that one. Okay. And what about if you could invite any three people to a dinner party? Who would you invite?
Peter, one of them would be you probably now. You know.
Don't believe that for a minute.
uh, it's always something, you know. In I don't have, you know, idols. You know, the idol for me is a family. You know, and have a nice dinner with no phones and no tablets. You know, that's getting really serious these days. You know, I think that would be a bigger thing for us. Is the bigger thing is to have no phones at the table, to have a nice chat as we used to have it back in the old days. You know, so yeah, so you know, it's always the old dinners is nice. You know, the people is every people is special his own way.
Hmm.
But I would say I always choose the family.
Yeah, you're right. It's a whole different dynamic whenever you can have a meal and there's no phone tablet.
There's no phone.
I
Yeah, you
completely
know,
understand that. Very
it's
good.
getting really alien these days. I would say I have to say alien. That's the name where you have to work because when they sit with no phones, what they're gonna do now? What are we gonna talk about now? Yeah, so that's it is. So we in our house we're trying to bring this up to the table now, that you come to the table empty-handed,
Yeah.
but you're leaving with the full belly. So that's the way it has
Yeah,
to work.
very good. And what about if you could go back in time, and if it were possible for you to give some advice to your 18-year-old self, what would that sound like?
Oh, that's the good one there. Well, I know what I would say. I would say take a challenges, take as much challenge as you can. Don't be afraid to risk it, because I can see myself. I had so many opportunities to take different opportunities, and I was afraid to take a risk. So I would say the risk it, and take a challenges. It will work out at the end anyway.
And instead of looking back, let's look forward. So, tell me, what does ZM Composites look like in 5 years' time?
Well, ZM Composites probably want to be one of the biggest manufacturers of GLP products. That's the whole plan of creating this business. I know that it is a few companies around. Some of them we pretty friendly with them. Some of them we feel a bit of a competition with it, which is a healthy competition, which is a good, I would say.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I think we want to be a slightly different company of GLP company. On our own way, what we're gonna do, and we have, as I said, we have a few plans, and in the future to bring this up, and you will hear us. We'll make some noise. Don't worry, we'll make some noise. Some noise.
Very good. And if someone likes what they've heard and would like to reach out and get in touch, what would be the best way for them to go about that?
Well, listen, it's like anything else. It's the social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram, or just send us an email at info@zmcomposites.com, or even just to give us a call. So all information you can find on our website as well. So
Brilliant. Zydrunas Lukosius from ZM Composites, thanks very much for sharing your journey and your story. Really interesting about how you came to Northern Ireland, then came back and stayed. And thank you for introducing me to the world of what GRP. There you go. Every day is a school day.
You learn something every day, Peter.
Yeah,
Learn something every day.
Absolutely. And look, thanks very much. I wish you every success for the rest of this year and beyond. So thanks very much, Zydrunas.
Thank you very much, Peter, for having me. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys.